And it's my pleasure to welcome you to this talk by Nancy Estela Ramirez, Marathon to Success. This activity is organized by her campus, a student organization that wants to empower leadership and communication in college students. Our students write and publish about a variety of topics that aim to make students feel a part of something very special and educational. Visit their website at hercampus.com, inter_SG. And now I would like to present Dr. Di Lorenzo from the Department of Languages and Literatures, who is going to introduce our special invited speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Quesada. Good morning, students. It's with great pleasure that I welcome you to today's per-campus activity and introduce our featured speaker, MIT graduate Nancy Ramirez, someone I've had the privilege of knowing since 2011. I look forward to you getting to know her today through her presentation. Nancy's an education consultant specializing in admissions consulting and standardized exam preparation for students in middle school through high school, through graduate school. Nancy strives to provide a world-class, holistic educational experience from her hometown of Ponce. Nancy was accepted to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, at age 15 while completing high school at the Colegio Ponceño. She began her engineering studies at MIT at the age of 16 when her dream had come true. At this very young age, she dreamt of studying in Boston. Still unsure when exactly this romance with the city began, Nancy remembers visualizing herself walking the streets of this city, a city she now reminisces about often. During her years at MIT, Nancy was very active in the student community. During her last year, she was awarded the Laya W. Weisner Award, a recognition presented to the woman student that had most enhanced the MIT community life while maintaining an excellent academic record. However, it was her summers that took her on a path to discover her love for teaching. During the summer of 2001, she took a job as an instructor for the Center for the Advancement of Hispanics in Science and Engineering Education. She taught calculus to underprivileged but incredibly talented young students. Her work as an instructor at George Washington University changed her life. Unsure of what this meant, she then took a job at the MIT Office of Admissions immediately after graduating. At this point, she saw firsthand the importance of guidance during the application process. It is with this in mind that she transformed what was once only a vision and created something. Since 2008, she has been working on providing students with the support system, the mentorship, and inspiration to become better versions of themselves. Her professional experience includes the Harvard Medical School Department of Orthopedics, 3M, the MIT Office of Admissions, and Stryker. She founded Cambridge Learning Centers in 2008 and currently continues to offer her services to clients in Puerto Rico and the continental United States. Without further ado, I present today's speaker, Nancy Ramirez.
Good morning. How are you? Good. First of all, I want to begin by thanking Professor Tessan. I don't know if she's already in here. I think she left for a second. And my friend, Professor Di Lorenzo, who I've known and how he mentioned we've known each other for many, many years and worked together. So today's topic is even more interesting because I was speaking with Professor Tessan, and some of you guys have been watching and reading about success. Am I right?
Yes.
Some of you? Can you raise your hands to see who has? Okay, great. So here we go. Let me start off with something that I read a long time ago, and it struck a chord in me. The number one predictor and factor of success is not talent, wealth, appearance, or a title. So today's talk is going to focus on what is a predictor of success? So let's first start off with what is success? Success is the achievement of a goal or a purpose, okay? So let's begin by doing some thinking. Dig deep. Think about your long-term goal as of right now, okay? Some of you are probably working towards a degree. Some of you have the goal of one day starting your own company. Maybe some of you want to become a nurse or a doctor. Maybe some of you want to run a 10K under an hour. That was a goal of mine a while ago. Maybe you want to have a bunch of followers in your social media. So those are all long-term goals that you can start working on today with some guidance that I will be sharing with you today. So this was mind-blowing to me, what I'm about to explain. So this equation right here begins breaking down this idea of success. And for those of you who have been watching TED Talks and have been reading on this topic, this might have come up. So talent multiplied by effort will create a skill. And I was on my way, I was talking to my friend who's now my nanny, and she just helps me in many things. We were talking about this on our way here, and I was talking about, she loves doing makeup, right? So she says it comes easier to her than most people. So that would be her talent. She does makeup, she likes to do it. She took some classes, some formal classes, and now she possesses a skill. And she charges for doing makeup. She did not do my makeup, but she charges to do makeup. So there you go, a talent, you know, she knew how to do makeup, she's always enjoyed it. She put in some effort, and now she has a skill which is translatable to perhaps a job. And I thought about this for a second. What is talent? And I think most of us have this idea of talent, you were born with it. And I really like this definition. Talent is how quickly you can develop in something. There's some people, for example, let me just give you an example. Maybe my son, he's good at hitting things with sticks. So he's naturally good at golf. He can whack the ball and always hit it versus his mom never hit the ball. So then that translates maybe in being good in baseball, etc. So that's a talent. He quickly, he invests some effort and he quickly gets it. However, what is talent? What is talent without this thing right here? Unmet potential. If you have a talent and you don't put effort, it just becomes unmet potential. And here's one thing that I wanted to point out. So like I said, my tiny son is in baseball, and he has a coach, which we have now discovered. He has sent, as part of his team, he has had starting pitcher for the Yankees. He also was a coach. He does 5-6, so 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. He also has had in his team a catcher for the Braves and an Astros shortstop, so he might know a little bit about these things. And he always repeats to us and the kids that talent is overrated. And at the beginning, we really didn't know his background and his resume, and we're like, okay, yeah, we know. But now that we know that he knows, I have come to believe that he might know something that most people don't know. So, now how do we translate skill into success or achievement, right? Now we have the skill. Now, say for example, you love woodworking, you were kind of good at it, you took a class, now you can create things in wood. But now how do we translate it and we take it to the next step? Well, here lies the key. You have to multiply it again by effort in order to get to where you want, right? This is where we want to head. We want to head towards success, towards achievement, towards being extraordinary and not ordinary. So I'm going to tell you a little story. So when I grew up in Ponce. So I was always the nerdy kid. She's not athletic. I heard that all my childhood. Nancy cannot hit a ball for her life. I tried volleyball, I tried tennis, I tried gymnastics, that was horrible. I tried swimming, that was horrendous. So I basically, at an early age, I was labeled as non-athletic. So in around 2008, I decided I had enough of that. How come I was labeled non-athletic? I mean, I think everybody who has a body can, do a little something, right? So at that moment, I decided that I wanted to become a runner. So the nerd in me began to read every single book I could find on how I could become a runner. Every book pointed that I needed to start running. So put the books away and I started running. So I became a runner. I've done 5Ks, 10Ks, 21Ks. I've had 2 babies. Right after I had my babies, I keep running. And what I discovered in this process was that slow and steady was the key to getting towards that goal. I could have done a week of, sprinting, and I could have called myself a runner, but that would have been a little bit of cheating, right? I don't think I could have said that I successfully achieved my goal. Whereas slow and steady gave me what I really wanted, okay? So again, I just want to repeat, you take your talent, you multiply it by your effort, and you get a skill, which is all right. That's ordinary. However, we take that skill and we give it some more. We give it everything we have, and we get to where we want to get. So the aha moment for me was figuring out that effort counts twice, okay? Effort makes a skill productive. And let's go back to the beginning of the presentation and think about that long-term goal that all of you might have. And we all have, in the back of our head, some long-term goals. I do myself, and I'm sure all of you have something. This is what I want you to take away from today's talk, okay? So when I was writing this, I was kind of laughing inside. At the gym, you see people go every day for like 3 hours. They're like complaining, why this doesn't work, man? This is not working for me. And you see them that they're talking the entire 3 hours. So when I was writing this, we've all been that person. The important thing is the quality of the effort, right? We can just be there, hanging out. We can be, on YouTube, kind of in the background, learning some skill, learning something. But that's not what success requires. Success requires real, productive effort, okay? Real, productive effort. And I also want to share something that I read a while back, and I put it all in there so you can all also read it. So this Anders Ericsson, who is the expert on experts, he basically studies how people become the best of the best. He did a study, and he found, and he was studying violinists at a German conservatory, and he compared 2 groups. One who had accumulated 10,000 hours. That's something Mr. De Lorenzo and I have discussed at large and extensively. So these very elite violinists had spent 10,000 hours in a span of 10 years, and they had achieved that highest status of becoming maestros in violin, versus less accomplished students who had accumulated half the hours in that same amount of time. So what do we see there when we compare the 2 groups? One had been playing and studying the violin for 10 years, which is very admirable. However, the ones who achieved this amazing goal of becoming, the best of the best had put in 10,000 hours. And I was also thinking out loud, well, you could also translate it as, I cook all the time, right? I have to cook 3 meals a day and every day of the week. However, it's not quality time. I'm not learning new recipes every day. So that's also another example. So bottom line, no pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. I'm sure all of you have heard that quote, but maybe haven't put 2 and 2 together. Perfect. No pain, no gain. You might want to take a picture of that. New motto to repeat to yourself every single day. Okay? No pain, no gain. If you want to learn a 3rd language, no pain, no gain. You have to sit and you need to put in the hours. You want to become a nurse, you want to become a doctor, you need to put in the hours. You want to become the CrossFit champion, you need to put in the hours. So what's the best predictor for success then? And whoever, some of you guys raise your hand, you've seen this TED Talk, it's probably my favorite TED Talk of all times. Grit. Who has heard this word before? Raise your hand. Hi. Perfect. I read a lot, and when I read Angela Duckworth's book called Grit, at the end of the presentation, I'm going to give you a few books that have, given me that, whoa, I knew this, but I didn't know this. Her book was one of them. Her TED Talk was one of them. It was kind of like, having water thrown in my face. Really understand that idea of how people become extraordinary at certain things. So now let's talk about grit. There's a few definitions. I really like a few of them. So it's the ability to work hard for a long time and not give up. Okay, so slow and steady without giving up. To persevere, to keep moving forward, even if we face failures along the way. Firmness of character. I say that a lot in Spanish. Firmeza de carácter. That person that will just stand tall regardless of what is happening and just keeps plowing forward. Okay? So again, you want to become an entrepreneur. What do you need to do? You need to stand firm and not let go of that idea. Everything you do every single day needs to be helping to get you to that long-term goal. I also like that, and I actually had to look up how to pronounce that word, and I pray that I say it correctly. Indomitable. Did I say it right? Indomitable spirit, okay? Espíritu, el espíritu que no se rinde, okay? Also, the idea that success doesn't happen overnight, really people believe that. It doesn't happen overnight, it takes time. So now that you're in your undergrad years, this is the perfect time to lay out what your long-term goal is and begin working towards that long-term goal. So the truth is, most people quit when it gets tough. When you're starting a business, I'm going to tell you a story in a little bit. Gets tough, people say, I'm just going to get a job and just get it over with. Maybe you're trying a new endeavor, sport. Those first weeks of me running after 20-something years of not moving were tough and they were grueling. And one morning, I remember vividly, I woke up at 5 a.m. because that day for my training, I had to run 8 miles. And I wanted to cry because I knew what laid ahead, but I went and I said, I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna think about it. And I love Nike's just do it because it really boils down to just do it. You think about it too much, you won't do it. You just have to go, get up, put your tennis shoes on, even if you're crying on the way there, you go and then you put one foot in front of the other, metaphorically and realistically, and you just go for it. Same as for everything. So, only the gritty prevail. So, today's talk, I was asked to focus it on leadership. And I think grit is the most important ingredient in leadership. There is no leader without grit, okay? Because a leader, and this is the, ¿cómo se dice? La huella de un líder. La huella de un líder is someone who doesn't give up, okay? Remember, you have people looking at you. You are the example as a leader. So therefore, if you quit before completing whatever you're completing, you will no longer be a leader. So let's talk about grit and leadership. So everybody has seen this. I love this because the one on the right is my life, okay? Most definitely. Success looks like that, but why does it look like that? Well, because things happen. Things happen along the way. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my story, but let me ground you in today. So later on, maybe some of you will have families, and if you're a woman, by the way, I visited her campus, San Germán, and I loved what I read. Who's in charge of her campus? Amazing. I loved it. So I was telling Professor Desan that my presentation was black and white. After I visited the website, I put in some yellow, and I wanted it to make it cute like the website, so that was pretty awesome. So good job, Her Campus. So back to this. So why is most people's life who achieve some sort of success look like the right side? Because life happens along the way, right? If you have these long-term goals and you're working towards them, well, life will hit you with things, okay? So maybe if you start a family, kids will come at some point, which was my case, and I kind of had to, do a little detour, like go back a little, and then still moving forward. Maybe, I don't know, things happen, health issues, whatever comes your way. Do we stop and say, I'm gonna stop, this is too hard? No. Hurricane Maria comes and we, kind of like figure out, and then we keep moving forward. So there's a saying, I'm not gonna say it, but stuff happens and we keep moving forward. So I'm sure you're all here because maybe you're asked to come, but I really want to take, you take the time right now to think about how you can become grittier in quotations. Maybe you want to become a grittier leader here on campus, but maybe you want to become, grittier. Is that correct? Grittier. Yeah, grittier, more gritty, no, grittier. Grittier in life, or maybe in your professional life. Because one of the things I learned reading Angela Duckworth's book is that we can become grittier. Okay? We have the power to change the way we see and the way we move forward with our goals, always with success in mind. So here we go. First thing you need to do, and if someone's taking notes or you want to take pictures or you want to remember things, well, this is the moment you need to pay attention. So the first thing you need to do in order to work with a grittier frame of mind is to set goals, okay? And what I love about this is that it's most of the time we set goals like, oh, one day, maybe, if life allows me, and maybe if I have the support of everyone I know, then maybe I will become a professor. Well, that's not how we set goals. We think, okay, this is what I want to do. I will become a professor. Now, what do I need to do in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years in order to achieve the ultimate goal? Okay? And I also included, how do family, friends, colleagues fit into your vision? This is so important. And I informally talked to my friends about this. If we choose the wrong partner, if we choose the wrong friends, and I'm going to talk about this a little later, your vision might not happen. Okay? So you need to see how everything around you will fit into your goal. What skills do you and your team need to learn or develop that you don't have today? So in 3 years, maybe I need to take more communication classes. Maybe I need to get better at writing. Maybe I need to refine my English in order to become X, Y, and Z. If you're thinking of becoming a nurse or a doctor, maybe I need to put in that 10% extra into my biology classes or my chemistry classes. If I want to start a company, maybe I need to start putting away a little money. Maybe I need to get a part-time job and start saving, $100 a month. That way when I start my company, I have marketing money so I can launch. Maybe I need to open that Instagram account now and start building and recruiting followers so that when I find the product I want to sell, I have people that will follow me, etc., etc., etc. 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So set your goals, track your goals, and this is very important. Be vocal about what your goals are. There's this, how do you say it? Like this group of people that's, believe, just keep it completely secret. You need to have someone where you can be vocal and get feedback on that goal and how you're doing. You need to be accountable. Sometimes if we just keep it, secret, we can just I'm not gonna, just toss that and do something else. But if you have someone that will keep you accountable, that will make your camino, the way, much easier. Focus on those things that you can control. This is really important, you guys. If you Tattoo that in your head. Focus on the things you can control. What can I do? What can I learn? What can I develop? Be creative in getting around those things, which you can. I mean, like I said, stuff happens. You need to get around and keep moving. Most importantly, you cannot give yourself permission to quit. Under no circumstance. Number 2, surround yourself with those that will help you achieve your goals. I was driving on my way with Carla and we were talking about this. You need to pick the right people. I mean, this is a non-negotiable. You need to pick the right people. So if you have people around you that either don't believe in yourself or maybe they're a little jealous that you have these long-term goals, sorry, I am really selective with the people I hang out with. So if someone's around you and is not supporting you in your long-term goals, you need to, Research shows that you become, and we've all seen these and cute, let me share this with my friends, but nobody really does it. But this is true. You are like the 5 closest people around you. So if you surround yourself with the leaders on campus, if you surround yourself with people that are hungry for success, if you hang out with people that always head out the door and think, today I am going to do my best. And there are a lot of people like this. You just have to be very selective with who you hang out. You're probably in your 20s. I love being in my 30s because this is so much easier now. Like, I don't have to respond to people that are bringing me down. But if you can start now, your life is gonna be 200% cooler, more fun, more successful, everything times 10. Take stock in who is influencing, that's interesting, wait, I don't know what happened there, that's weird. Look at your career. Are these people positive? Positive people. And again, forward all these messages, oh, today is a positive day. Most people, let me tell you, are not positive and are not filled with positive energy. You need to choose who you hang out with. People that will tell you, you're awesome. However, today, you didn't do crap about your long-term goal. Or why did you drop that class? Isn't that part of your long-term goal? If you have people around you like that, they will help you achieve that goal. If people are like, oh my God, I'm so happy you dropped that class because that class was crap. I hate that class. You didn't need it. They're not being honest and they're not helping you to achieve the ultimate goal. Are they solution driven? You're having an issue and they're like, okay, so what are we gonna do to resolve it? How are we gonna solve this? Versus, oh, here, let's cry for 2 months together. You don't want those people. You want, how do we solve it? You get to cry a day or two and then, okay, we move on. What do we do? Don't allow the people you hang out with to distract you from your goals. So far, clear. It's all going in, right? Yes? Okay, cool. Number 3, look at failure as a stepping stone to success. People, failure is temporary. That is like when I really understood this. Failure is temporary. So you had a bad day, that day is gonna go away. Once you go to sleep, the next day is gonna be amazing. Say you failed a test. That is also temporary because you have another opportunity. Next test. Say, failure. Let me think about failure. I mean, I can think of so many ways I can describe how failure is just a temporary state. It'll go away. You just need to keep moving forward. Maintain your efforts and interest in goals despite pitfalls and adversity. Apply what you learned the next time you try, and that is super important. You fail, you need to sit down and think, what did I do wrong? How can I make it better? Some of the most successful people have had setbacks, and that's normal. You just have to, sit, think about it, analyze what did I do wrong, and then move forward. Questions? Good. Number 3. Move on to number 4. Practice with purpose. Practice with purpose. So Daniel Pink's book, Drive, which is an excellent book, talks about, and he studied all these people with extraordinary results, and he found that you need to do 10% more than the rest of the people. So if you're in a class and everybody wants to become whatever, a doctor, a nurse, something, and you really want to make sure you make it, you need to always look around and think, I need to be 1 step ahead. 10% above everybody, just to make sure that you're working towards that goal. And then that amazing book, has anybody read that book, Outliers? Yes. De Lorenzo has read it. Okay, you need to read that book today. Outliers says, and he goes case by case, looking, why did the Beatles make it? Why X and Y made it? 10,000 hours. And he makes the case that it is deliberate practice that makes the difference. Oh, and this is really, really interesting. So Angela Duckworth, in her book, Grit, talks about the National Spelling Bee, and she studied kids who had won these national competitions. So she looked into the 3 different ways kids prepare for the National Spelling Bee. So the first way was informally, playing Scrabble, reading books, for pleasure. The second way they prepared was maybe an adult would say, graduation, spell graduation, GR. So they would be quizzed by someone else. And then the third way would be solitary study. So they would sit and literally read the dictionary. She found that the predictor, right, out of these 3, what predicted which kids would win the national competition and which didn't, guess who? The ones that sat down and solitos read the dictionary, okay? And what is that called? She calls it deliberate practice. What does deliberate practice mean? That these kids, a diferencia de los demás, different from the rest who were playing Scrabble and reading for fun Harry Potter and getting quizzed by their parents, these kids who won the competition would sit down and put in the work. You start seeing there's a correlation with everything. You need to sit and do the work. And I just wanted to highlight that luck is rarely the key to getting to success. So scratch luck, no good. It's solitary studying that gets you to the ultimate goal. So very quickly, and I know Professor De Lorenzo told you a little bit about my grit story, and it's in process. All of our grit stories are in process. So you heard about me getting to college early. One thing I did want to point out is I grew up in a household where hard work was applauded. My parents did not care about our IQ or how smart we were or none of that. They were just how many, did you sit down to study how many hours today? Did you do your extracurriculars? Are you doing the best you can? And if we didn't, then no good. I could get hundreds in every exam, but if they didn't see me studying for a while and doing my solitary study, it was no good for them. So my parents also made me tutor. I mean, at the beginning it was horrible. They're like, oh, you like math? Well, you get to tutor all the neighbors and all of your friends in school for free, every day. So my house was always filled with kids from everywhere. My parents would just accept, they were my agents, so they would just accept all the kids to come get free tutoring. I had so much tutoring that my school got noticed that I was doing it, and they created an award for all the hours of community service I was doing way back in the day when community service was not, now they give, awards and things. No, so I was, doing so much tutoring. At the beginning it was horrible. But then, I kind of liked it. I started liking it. I then went to MIT. I continued tutoring there, as a matter of fact. But my introduction said, one summer, and I worked different places, different summers, I applied for this very unique job. I still don't recall why. I think one of my dorm mates mentioned, oh look, this is kind of cool, you tutor. And I went to Washington, D.C., and it was incredible. They took children from 7th, 8th, and 9th grade from very underprivileged areas in DC, very hard neighborhoods, who would never probably get the opportunity to learn higher level mathematics classes in their schools. And we would take them in and sit them in small classrooms, and I would take my calculus textbook from MIT and I would just start teaching them calculus. Maybe they had done algebra, but we would just go and teach them all these amazing things. And that experience changed my life completely. To see those faces and think, I can make a difference. We can make a difference in whatever job, whatever career we choose. We just have to find that purpose. So immediately I thought, something in my life tells me that I will continue doing this. So, and I worked in many different places as an engineer, project management. I also worked various companies, but that one was one I remember. So after I graduated MIT, I lived in Europe. After Europe, I came back to Puerto Rico and I landed a job as an engineer. And I guess I was used to it, but in the evenings, guess what I did? I tutored! My God, I was already like a professional and I kept tutoring. So a family friend would call me and like, oh, you want to help my, and I was like, yes, I'll tutor again. So I continued that until one day, and this is like the tipping point of the story. That's another great book. The tipping point of the story was a friend of a friend remembered that I worked at the admissions office at MIT. So they were like, hey, you can help my kid. He wants to go to college in the US. Can you help us? And I was like, yes, I would love to. So every single night I would leave my job at 8 p.m. as an engineer, and I would go help this student get to his goal of going to Johns Hopkins. That was the college he wanted to go to. So after a few months, guess what happened? He got into Johns Hopkins, and I thought, oh my God, I just created this career. Then I figured out there were other people doing that. But I thought at that moment that I had invented this idea of college advising. And it was like a switch went off. And I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life until I'm like 100 years old. So obstacles, I started, that client referred more clients and more clients referred more clients. And all of a sudden I thought, I'm gonna open my own shop. I'm gonna tutor for the rest of my life and mentor and do all the things I love. Did I face obstacles? Absolutely. It is so expensive to open a shop. So good thing, I had started saving money, one, so I was very responsible financially. I had put some money. All my life I have been a saver. See? Okay, ahora. The hours I would have to have because kids leave school at 3, so my hours would be skewed completely, so I would work in the night. But then again, I felt that this was my passion, so why not? More obstacles. I had to do hiring and always the self-doubt, you know, will I be able to? Well, did I stop? No. I opened my business, I pursued my passion, and every single day I get home and I tell my husband, oh my God, I am so lucky. This is amazing. My kids are amazing. Talking to them is amazing. They make me feel so invigorated and so alive. So I want you to get out of today's presentation that you need to continue moving forward. Don't stop. Once you find something you love, don't keep that skill just a skill. Take it one notch higher. Take a few more steps every single day. Surround yourself with the people you need to get to that ultimate goal. You can be successful. There's an idea that you can't. Yes, you can. You can be successful. You just have to do the work, okay? You have to do the work. There are no shortcuts, okay? Gritty people get back to work every single day. Working towards a meaningful goal is not a sprint, and that is something I also want you to take today. Most people get excited, woo, I'm gonna do this, and then they work on it for a few days, and then they forgot. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You have to continue working towards the ultimate goal. So that is what I wanted to take you to take home with you today. I hope I got your brain moving, and I hope your heart is excited after listening. I hope out of this classroom, many of you go on to become whatever it is that you want to become, truly and honestly. Our island needs you to put in the work. Our island needs you to put in the pain and the steady work. We need more entrepreneurs. We need more people in health professions. We need more amazing artists. We need songwriters, and we need writers, and we need doctors, and we need everything. So you can just sit there and dream and think of all these things and look at cute memes that say, oh, we have to be positive and get to the ultimate goal. Or you can today think about what you want to accomplish in your life and take today your first step, and then tomorrow the second step, and in 5 years you continue taking steps, and in 20 years you will be sharing with people around you saying, my life is amazing. I get to do what I love every single day. And they're gonna be like, wow, oh my God, how did you do that? And then you'll look back and think, because I took that first step. So thank you everyone for coming today. Give yourself an applause. Before I leave the stage, if you wanna read more on this topic, and I highly suggest it, here are some wonderful books. I talked about running. This book was kind of amazing. No Need for Speed. If you're into fashion and all, this Girl Boss is an amazing book. So take a picture. And thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Anybody has questions? Because obviously, my students know that I will have a question. So Derek, sit. You can ask the yes. Well, thank you so much, Nancy, for your excellent talk. Something that I want to say that and you mentioned at the end, and it's something that we always talk with our professors in our meetings. We do talk about you. But something that I want to make sure that you understand is that when we teach you, when Nancy is here talking to you, it's because we see the doctors that are going to treat us. We see the teachers that are going to teach our children. We see the nurses that are going to take care of us when we are in hospital. We are seeing every one professional that are going to help us when we are very old already, although we are already kind of old for you. So please, that's why we put this effort in showing you amazing people like Nancy, because we believe in you, okay? And something that I wanted to ask you, that something you mentioned, which is mentorship. You didn't use the word mentorship, but something that I remember when I got the opportunity to mentor other people or to tutor, technically I was like, but I don't know much more than them. Is that necessary thing? Like, we really need to know way more than the people that we are tutoring. And what is that we take, besides experience obviously, but what is it about tutoring or mentoring that actually we can get for leadership and for grit?
That's a great question. And I was talking to a friend about this a few days ago in the context of, can you help someone if, say for example, someone comes to you and asks you something personal, and she says, I just don't feel qualified to give them any sort of answer. And I think that goes along with that. Are we? I mean, if I'm going to work as a tutor, do I need all the qualifications necessary on paper for me to offer that tutoring? And I think the answer is, if the person in front of you requests this from you, that means that they see something in you, right? And that you have perhaps something to offer. So my answer to that is yes. I mean, yes. Is there a certain level of qualification to provide mentorship or tutoring? Absolutely not. Most of the times people just want to listen to your opinion, to your thoughts, for you to add something. Maybe they're missing something in their thought process. So yes, that would be my answer. And there was a second part of the question. Did I?
How that would, what as you as a tutor, what do you get out of it?
Oh.
You say it's just the experience, which is, oh, I tutor people.
Yes.
But what is it that you get from actually this?
So when you mentor someone, I don't think I can put into words what you get out of mentoring. If you have, if some of you have little, I'm going to put it in context. If any of you have little siblings, like a little brother or sister, or if you have little cousins, or if you've ever talked to a small child and they ask you anything, have you taken a second to see their face when they're asking you for that? Okay? So So that is exactly what mentoring feels like as adults, okay? You have this person in front of you, literally waiting just to hear what you have to say. So what do you get out of it? Basically everything, in my opinion, but that's what I chose to do with my life. So if you get a chance to mentor, please do. That is the ultimate community service. And I think we all have a calling to mentor, because we all have learned lessons which we can pass down to the younger ones that are rising and getting older. So I think that is it. Any more questions? Any more something you want to ask me? The question was, what would I say to a person lacking motivation? And I'm going to give you what has worked for me. The people I surround myself with is key. And sometimes, and this is, I tend to talk a lot to people. I have coffee dates with so many people, so I'm always talking to people. But one of the things I've shared with my friends and my colleagues is sometimes it's even harder to choose who you hang out with, because sometimes it's people who feel that you can't get rid of, okay? And some of you are listening, and for those of you who are listening, listen closer. So if you want to be motivated and feel invigorated, okay, you need to choose wisely who you spend your time with. You want to hang out with people that lift you. You want to hang out with people who believe in your potential. Potential being that talent that you still haven't tapped. You need to be with the people that perhaps have achieved that goal that you want to achieve, okay? So if you feel unmotivated in this point of your life, you need to take a closer look who you're having lunch with, who you're going home and living with, who is draining all of your energy, and take a close look and do some self-analysis and think, if I continue like this, will I ever get out of my chair and take that first step? Most of the time we have the answer, we just don't want to put all of that in motion. So I leave you with that, and I hope that was useful. Any other questions? We're done! We're done! Thank you!
Students, thank you for your attendance at today's program. Good luck on your finals. Have a great end of the